this is the 2020 annual report for Jewell County Community Development. I structured this a little bit differently this year. Usually before I'd gone through the different months and kind of recapped our successes throughout the year. But since last year, we did a strategy meeting in January of the entire Jewell County Community Development Board. And we've also done strategic doing through the community. I have structured it that way this year. Last year, we also conducted an online survey of the community members throughout Jewell County, and they could tell us what they liked and didn't like and some of their aspirations for the county. So I went ahead and put that as well in our annual report as a measure of our successes and showing that we are paying attention to what people are saying and the goals of the board. So our board strategy meeting in January of last year, we focused a lot on some of the things we talked about in strategic doing, which included the focus on parks and recreation, more trails, the Mammoth history development, signage, continued education about tourism and its impact on our county, focus on the cleanup of our county in terms, and we specifically highlighted land banks, and then a higher tax on empty buildings as a possibility to pursue. Community identity, the creative food, I had to think about that a second, what we were talking about there, but we talked a lot about, other places having an ethnicity that ties them all together, and Jewell County really not having that. So, building on that idea. So Mammoth Dig Site, kiosks at the lake was one of the things that came out of that. And then people still want to develop a wellness center, and we have some public entities looking at that. We've been pushing them a little bit harder on that, but none of those have come to fruition yet. But we also talked about finding our identity around an elder care rehab type facility. So the community survey from last year, the main points that came from that, this is the one that we distributed throughout the communities and had community members talk about and respond to. They thought the good things about Jewell County were it's a safe place to live and a good place for kids and a good place to retire. The bad were some different quality of life issues. The economic opportunities could be increased, and the healthcare could be increased as well. The most important factors for quality of life: safe place to live, quality of water, medical facilities, and quality of schools. So we talked about in that survey, we asked people what their biggest aspirations for Jewell County are, and here's what they said. So again, they echoed the young people, opportunities for young people, the growth for retirees, more diversification of industry and jobs, keeping our hospital and our schools open and viable, cleaning up the county, and youth retention. And then the top 3 development strategies out of that: job creation, new business startups, and quality of life amenities. So how have we progressed toward those goals this year? So David has really been working on this with me, and I know Barry put in some time here at the end of the year to try to focus on this Mammoth work that we had talked about in strategic doing. So we developed a few trails around the county. There's one in Mankato. There's also one around Lake Emerson and Jewell. And then we've been approached a couple of years ago for some destination trail ideas with the Kansas Trails Association. So we've been talking about different things we could do around that. So the Angie Hansen intern that we hosted this summer actually worked on some of this work as well. She worked with, finding some information, potential information for the kiosks, and then David took that and kept running with that. Mammoth signage for the county, and Barry has worked towards some of that silhouette development on some of the hills. So we've been working toward how do we integrate this into our county identity a little bit better. Land banks have been a big focus throughout this past year. Mankato has an established land bank now, and we've worked with the Mankato City Council members and their town board on that. The members that have been assigned to the City Council for the Land Bank Board in Mankato. I attended a land bank meeting in Stafford, Kansas, to see how they're using their land bank and all the different possibilities that you can use a land bank for. Esben is also working on a land bank, so is Formoso, and I know Jewell has talked about that. The summer intern and I went and talked to a group of Jewell citizens and council members on land banks there. So everybody's continuing to work on that. I think it has a lot of promise there. All right, so biggest aspirations for Jewell County included opportunities for young people, growth for retirees, and diversification of jobs and youth retention. So one of those key things that I think really lends itself to this and that we've been working on is rural and remote. As most of you know, but I am recording this for the public, Rural and Remote is an objective from Northwest Kansas Economic Innovation Center, which is a business arm of Dane G. Hansen Foundation. That is a specific focus for the 26 counties in Northwest Kansas, and over 7 million people are working remotely in the US. This was before COVID-19, so there's even more now. And that median pay of those people is $48,500 a year. So about 3.4% of the population was working remotely before COVID-19, and it's greatly increased over the last 5 years. So this is something with Jewell County's internet availability that we should be able to capitalize on very well. Having better internet than most people in big cities, we really have an advantage here on this. And I think most people have traditionally looked at industry as a way to grow, but this could potentially bring new workers and their families, and also potentially have new businesses spawn off of that. The second thing we've been working on for a long time, and most of you board members who were on this before I was even on this, is the entrepreneurship fair through the high school. We did try to do that last year, and we had groups and mentored a couple of different groups of kids that were working on entrepreneurship fair projects. And then COVID-19 happened, and we tried to actually go electronically for that. But at that point, there was not an equal playing field. According to Principal Meyer, he didn't think it was an equal playing field for all kids to be able to compete with that at that point. So that was postponed till this year, and we are working on that again this year, but trying to foster our own entrepreneurs and getting kids thinking creatively about what they can do in Jewell County. Let's see. The next thing we worked on, we hosted a Dane G. Hansen intern for the last 3 years, actually a couple of different interns, a couple of different summers. So that program we did use last year and worked on a lot of different initiatives through strategic doing and for the foundation last year. This year that has changed, but we do have one Dane G. Hansen Fort Hays State internship position for the summer. Applications are due now. So if you have a Fort Hays State student that you know would be interested in that, please let them know about that position. We also have 2 Next Gen Roundup for Youth interns coming as well. That application is due by March 1st. Those students do have to come through from one of the 26 counties in the Dane G. Hansen territory. So if you know of a student from Jewell County or one of the 26 counties, please send them my way for one of those internships to be considered for that. And the last thing that we've been working with and encouraging on is the Rural Opportunity Zone sponsorship from the county. That is something that the county had to sign on for, but it does come out of our Jewell County Community Development budget. And that was a program that pays up to $15,000 over 5 years for student loan repayment for people. And it is a really nice catalyst. People really take well to that program and feel encouraged that we really want them here when we advertise that program. I thought it was going away this year from the state, but they have actually kept that program around. So I talked to the county commissioners on Monday about how we can continue to support that program. So additionally, we have this is just a few of the businesses that I tallied up, but we helped 8 potential new businesses this year. We worked with the Spark grant money that came down from the federal government and obtained over $130,000 worth of money for Jewell County businesses off of that. So we worked with quite a few businesses getting those applications in. The program proved a little bit harder to utilize than we would have liked I said, is a federal program. So some of those businesses that did apply didn't end up following through or did not have the right documentation to utilize the program, but quite a few still use that program, and hopefully that helped them through some of the COVID challenges from this year. We do have some access now to destination boot camp courses, and those are usually only settled for or used for Network Kansas communities. But since some of that training has gone online, that is available to our businesses. So I've advertised that a few times. Equitable broadband has been an issue. We do have great internet in Jewell County, but it's something that we can always improve on. In certain areas, we don't have all the access they need. So we did sit on some of those calls on equitable broadband that came out of the Spark monies and discussions. And then David and I have also been working on the Kansas Department of Commerce's request for potential drone ports throughout the state. And we've really tried to position Jewell County as a leader in that, and as a top location potential for that if they ever get that program working off the ground. So those are some of the things that we've done throughout the year for that. This is the results from those last two bullet points about land banks. We kind of just talked about that, but those were some of the other parameters that we were meeting. That's just something from the promotions that we've done throughout this year, trying to educate the public a little more on land banks, why they are important and can potentially be used to turn some of the issues that we have with housing and empty buildings back around and more to our advantage in Jewell County. I'm going to open it up for questions at the end here, so please be thinking of your questions, write them down if I've skipped them over. Other achievements throughout this year, we really tried to promote the 2020 census and make sure all of our citizens were aware of it, and taking the census, over $2,000 was lost for everyone we did not get counted. So hopefully we got a pretty good number in for Jewell County this year. We conducted that new city council, commissioner, and board training last year with over 18 in attendance. I did survey that group after that was done and asked if that was something advantageous that we should continue to do. And it was an overwhelming consensus that they did like that, and it was advantageous. So we will be conducting that again this year. That's going to be held this Thursday night over Zoom, January the 14th at 7 p.m. I am putting different content in there than last year. So if you attended last year and you want to attend again, you're sure welcome to. It will be different. So hopefully we will not only educate maybe new people that have that learning curve when they get on a commission or a board or a council, but we can use all of you that are seasoned board members and seasoned community leaders, your knowledge and your guidance as well. So if you're able to come, we'd love to have you on that. And that is on an event on Facebook I can share with you all again. Just some fun things we did throughout the year. HGTV Hometown Takeover was looking for submissions. We did submit Jewell County for that, which was just kind of a fun thing. If we would have gotten picked, it would have been really neat. We've been working a lot with the Jewell County Foundation. We did meet our $50,000 match goal last year, which we're super proud of, which gave us over $125,000 for the Jewell County Foundation. We are going to get even bigger carrots this year if we get that $50,000. So we'll be working on that, of course, in March. Well, probably every month up to March, but March is our match month. And then we did work on some education of the foundation through K-State this year as well. Oops, I'm gonna go back a couple. We have been working on the nonprofit status for Jewell County community development, and we're continuing to work on that. And we are continuing to focus on housing through attending things like the Kansas Housing Conference. All in all, we helped to raise more than $269,000 and put that back into Jewell County this year. That's 6.25 times the budget that we are given. So I feel like we really try as a board, and as all of you know, to make a big and great return on investment and be good stewards of the money and and the time that we are given. So thank you all for serving on this board throughout the year and throughout the past couple of years. And I will open it up to any questions anybody has.